This is Gary Golightly. He believes life is unbelievably beautiful. Justine Castle lives and paints in Sunnyvale, California. In fact, she adds the sunny part. And the man behind this wheel, Ian Clifford, hasn't bought a drop of gas in years. Gary Golightly, a.k.a. the Bubble Man, going to work, if you can call it that. Gary, how's a guy get a job like this?
About 18 years ago, I bought a bubble maker. I was at a pond one day, and I was making bubbles with this bubble device. I love this job. One person, she said, "Do you do this at daycare centers?" I said, "I do now." And she said, "We don't have much money." And I said, "Well, what can you afford?" And she said, "Well, we could take our field trip money and $30. So I said, "Let's see, $30 for 30 minutes. That's $1 a minute to make bubbles." Yeah, I can do that.
Don't forget to smile.
I was a school teacher. I was an art teacher. And what I love about having my bubble car is that I still get to be an artist. And that's my canvas.
It's a show only for kidults. No kids allowed. This is entertainment for the children of the millennium. And now that I have the most dangerous part of the program out of the way, I can relax and get on with the show. Catch the bubbles now! There they go!
How many ways can a person blow a bubble? Gary doesn't know, yet.
I'm always thinking about more ways to make bubbles. And when I'm doing a show, it's not a show. It's really what I call a performance. And I want the kids to know how to do what I do when I'm through doing what I do. And getting them to pay attention and learning how to do what I do is so important to me. And it's so wonderful seeing them responding to me. And I love them. I love them so much. Their little faces, their laughter.
I got my little Toyota. Her name is Joyota from Lemon Fresh. Her short name is Joya, because I enjoy a ride in her. And, you know, she accompanies all my bubble gear just perfectly. And thus, I'm ready for the next show.
As a performer who spends a lot of time traveling, Gary really knows how to handle road rage.
One thing I love to do is blow bubbles at a red light. It not only calms me down, but it cheers people up.
Gary not only created a new name for himself, he created a career. Kids can't get enough of him. The Bubble Man and his bubble van are booked solid for months in advance. Does all the pressure stress him out? No, just makes him happier. Just about everything makes the Bubble Man happy.
My bubbleosophy, in short, is that people are just like bubbles, that we're all different shapes, colors, and sizes, just like bubbles, and some of us last longer than others, just like bubbles. But we all come from the same source. Just like bubbles come from joy, people come from love, because only love exists. And when we find out we do come from love, we rise in love, just like bubbles. Boy, I've been rising in love ever since. Like bubbles of joy.
I have a little boy's birthday party, I believe. Oh, yeah. And I know he's excited. I'm a surprise for this kid. I'm a surprise. I love being a surprise. You know what it's like to be a little kid, to have a beautiful car like this show up in a Bubble Man on your birthday? Oh my God, they go nuts. So, and I go just as nuts. Yes, it's me! I really am a Bubble Man! It's all complete. Until the next show. Thank you very much. Thank you, don't thank me. Hang up and drive. I'm showing somebody my hang up and drive. She smiled. She smiled. Most people don't smile when I hold a hang up and drive sign.
Gary doesn't just blow bubbles for a living. There's a fair bit of heavy lifting in this job. Fortunately, Gary is a fast worker.
We are only 3 seconds away from bubble time because, oh, look at the beautiful bubble-rinas now. And you got a bubble-rina too. All right. Millennium, that's my word.
Gary has spread his magic far and wide. He says the language of bubbles is understood all around the globe.
When I was in Russia, I would go to hospitals. And I remember one of my interpreters, he came up to me and he said, you know, One of the children said, "When are you gonna come back?" And he said, "I could only tell them one answer." I said, "In your dreams." I said, "I'll be in your dreams so you can dream about the Bubble Man."
What's in it for Gary? Well, aside from making thousands of pint-sized friends, he hopes the parents are learning too.
I hope that I can be an inspiration to children, and also that parents, I don't want to show parents how to raise their kids, but I do want to show them alternatives for their children without batteries, electricity, or video games. I'm trying to really offer something here outside of what Nike, Disney, Nickelodeon, Nintendo, Teenage Mutant Ninja, Power Ranger, Barney, Beanie Baby, Teletubby, Barbados, Pokemon, and V-Chips have been offering.
See what I've been seeing all these years.
One adult who got the message, musician Dwight Beckmeyer.
God bless the Bubble Man. I was just having coffee at the local coffee shop, the Honey Bear Bakery, and I was just sitting there and saw the Bubble Man just being enchanting in front of these kids, and these kids were just, he was blowing bubbles for them, and their eyes would sparkle up, and they just loved him. And I was so taken by the moment. Look what the Bubble Man gave to me from Soap Bubble Land. Happily ever after.
That marshmallow yet?
I never had a dad. I never was a dad. And you know, when I was young, they used to say, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I said, "I'd like to be the dad I never had."
Oh, the light's red.
Bubble bye.
Cars at one point. When I had the caterpillar just looked like a caterpillar, so I made it into a canapillar.
And having positively charged a furry caterpillar, Gustine moved up to the bird world.
I'm Marimba, the you-can-too-can, world's featheriest limo. I'm the rock and roll model for the can-do type C personalities. Can-shan.
The designs are mine. I do most of the work. Some of the heavy stuff I have done. I have one helper, helps me, and some of the heavy mechanical things, but most of the stuff I do it, and I paint them all the time. Most of the three main cars are painted with fluorescent paint, and it fades like crazy. They go out in the sun, even a couple days, and they get really faded fast. And the caterpillar goes out a lot, so it fades like crazy. And every couple of weeks, I have to paint it front to back, top to bottom.
It's not cheap or easy keeping Gustine's fuzzy fleet on the road. Take her bullfrog buggy, for instance.
On that frog, that croaker, when I first started it, I used about 200 cans of that spray foam stuff that swells up and gets all over you and sticks to your skin. And about 200 cans on that, but I've done a lot since too, so 200 and something cans, just originally inside and the outside. Pretty expensive.
Gustine doesn't just make her art cars, she likes to drive them too, if only to give the little tadpoles an outing. As for her husband, well, he's on board, but just barely.
I already had art cars when I met my husband. He drives them now and then, but he refuses to wear orange wigs or goofy hats. It's hard to get him even to wear a cantaloupe shirt.
Oh, we're getting into marimba, the you-can, toucan. So look at the inside. It's so cute. And it's full of little toucans. Here's little marimbas.
Oh, thank you. I can squawk now. I have a squawk show. I love talking and squawking.
It's amazing how a simple cantaloupe-colored limousine with shocking pink wheels can make a whole neighborhood look positively boring. What Gustine couldn't do with a few thousand more cans of paint.
Let's go down here and look at the legs. Oh, cute. Hey, this, you like that? Oh, okay, look inside. It's all fuzzy. It's full of monkeys. There's a monkey. They're all named Linda. I wonder why they're all named Linda.
Well, my name used to be Linda, and that's why the monkeys are called Linda. When I was a kid, my mother tells me, I kind of forgot, but she tells me I named all my dolls Linda. So I thought, well, all the monkeys in the car, I'll call them Linda.
Oh, here we are getting inside Calliope, the cantaloupe caterpillar world's hairiest limo.
Oh, and we're in here with all the Lindas. Here's a Linda. Isn't she cute? We're all cute, aren't we cute?
Oh, I'm losing my hat, my chauffeur hat.
I don't need my chauffeur hat because one of the Lindas is going to give us a ride.
And here's a Linda, and here's a Linda, and well, I'm sitting on a little Linda.
Gustine does like to monkey around. Now she's got a gorilla at the wheel.
Linda, that was a stop sign. You ran right through it. Oh, my God. I told you to watch where you're going. Pull over. Can't trust gorillas to drive.
I saw that stop sign she ran through, and I'm going to kick her out now. You're in trouble, Linda. You're running a stop sign. Give me that chauffeur's hat. So much for a gorilla driving. You just can't trust a gorilla driving a car these days. I'll do it myself.
Gustine kindles a lot of smiles and brightens a lot of lives just driving down the road to the supermarket and back. She's a rolling sunrise in day-glow Technicolor. Orange, you glad she's here?
Let's have a day of fun with the car made in France to make driving fun again, the Renault Dauphine. A fun car to own, to drive, to ride in. The Renault Dauphine.
The Renault Dauphine Electric, an ahead-of-its-time automobile that hasn't rolled off an assembly line for 40 years. And Ian Clifford thinks that's a shame.
I often imagine where we would be today if the auto industry had adopted electric vehicles as a standard. At that time, we'd have electric cars that would travel hundreds of miles on a single charge. We'd have beautiful battery technology. We'd have affordable, clean air vehicles today. But things are changing now. You know, we're getting sicker. Our parents are getting sicker. Our kids are getting sicker. We're getting sicker. And a lot of that is due to pollution. And a lot of that pollution comes from the gasoline engine. So we can change that. And we can change it bit by bit, car by car, one car at a time.
And here's where Ian's dream is unfolding. In his forklift factory in Toronto. Car by car, he's restoring a fleet of classic Dauphines and putting them on the road as pollution-free, street-legal, and affordable electric cars. If he's right, he and his investors could really clean up. Oddly enough, the vacuum cleaner analogy makes sense.
This first electric vehicle, the electric Dauphine, was made by Eureka Vacuum Cleaner Company and the Henny Coach Building Company. They were an amazing coach building company. They did all the Cadillac hearses, and very, very famous company in the US. There is a vacuum cleaner attachment available for our cars. It's an option, quite an expensive option. Well, the beautiful thing about electric cars is that they are very simple. The engines are very small, so you don't need a huge engine to power a car. You just need this very compact electric motor. We could make this car go twice as far today with new battery technology, but it would cost 2 or 3 times more. And we wanted to bring a car to market that people could afford today, you know, and start driving today instead of something. It's always in the future. It's always in the future.
Not only are these cars easy on the environment and not dependent on fossil fuels, they're recycled. Most old cars end up in the junkyard. These cars are born again.
This is reusing an old vehicle. So we're not using any new raw materials to bring this car to market. And it's the highest level of the recycling food chain is reusing a car. And that's really important to us.
We think of electric vehicles as revolutionary. But the fact is, hundreds of thousands of them have been hard at work among us for decades. They're called forklifts. The motors are tough, reliable, and the technology is as simple as AC/DC.
One moving part, very little maintenance we have on this motor, and it's just hooked up to these wires and the controller, which basically gives us our drive. Essentially, you know, just a big electric toy that gets you from A to B. Yeah. Very simple.
And simply beautiful, in a fashionably old-fashioned sort of way. Ian, why not a Chevy or a Ford? Why these Renault Dauphines?
The thing that we love about this car is the way it looks. You know, retro is in, and this is the real thing. You know, this isn't retro. This is where it came from. So so people respond to it beautifully. We chose to launch the company with this car for that reason too. Is that it becomes a recognizable icon for feel-good cars. Is the original Dauphine Electric. Some of the criteria with this car, well, first of all, it was available as an electric car in 1960, so obviously a lot of thought went into it at that time. It was a rear-engine car, which makes the connection between the motor and the transmission very simple. And the way it's laid out, it lends itself to electrification. So here we are with our original inventory of Renault Dauphines. We've got about 60 cars here in Toronto now awaiting conversion to electric. These are all internal combustion Dauphines from all over the world. We've got a few cars here from England. You can see they've got right-hand drive on them. But they're great little cars. You can see an interior in this car, for instance, just the style of it is beautiful. It's got these fantastic seat and cloth patterns inside. We just really love it.
But 60 restored and converted cars do not a revolution make. What happens when you run out of these 40-year-old classics?
Renault made close to 3 million of the Dauphine during the 60s, so we don't think we're ever going to run out of them. There are thousands and thousands of them around in different collections around the world. We've got agents working for us in France, in Romania, and in South America looking for cars. It's a perfect inner-city car. It's, you know, it has a maximum speed of 100 kilometers an hour or 60 miles an hour. And but I really like to drive it right downtown in the core of the city where we've got the most pollution, where it really benefits the most. We call it feel-good cars for a couple of reasons. The main reason is that my 5.5-year-old daughter, when she sees the car, she's named the car Mabel, the car that I drive, and she gives it a big hug every time she sees it.
And Ian hopes the buying public will embrace his plug-in cars the same way.
It's an electric car. It's a car for driving around the city and driving to and from work. It's totally non-polluting. And you plug it in at night. Wherever you can plug in your hair dryer, you can plug in your car. Yeah, give us a call and we'll bring a car to you and you can try it out. The best way to sell this vehicle is actually to show it to people, to bring it out in the street, out in the real world. You know, let them touch it, let them feel it, let them drive it, and they can see it's a real car and it drives like a real car. And that's the important thing about it is you're not giving up the joy of driving. This is truly a car.
One of Ian Clifford's greatest pleasures? Driving past gas stations, smiling.
Well, the only time I go to a gas station now is to clean the windows. That's it. I don't even look at what the price of gas is anymore. I don't care. Sometimes as a joke, I'll go into a full-service gas station and ask them to fill it up and just watch while they spend 10 or 15 minutes trying to find the gas nozzle. It's great.
Not that you can drive forever in an electric car, but if you do run out of juice, you don't need to find an open gas station, just an electric outlet.
If you do run out, yeah, you can knock on somebody's door and say, you mind if I plug my car into your toaster?
Wheels of Dreams take many forms. From the Bubble Man in his bubble van to Gustine Castle, who's convinced she can do anything with enough cans of cantaloupe paint. And Ian Clifford, sparking the automotive revolution one car at a time.
She may have seen better days, when she was in her prime, She may have seen better days, once upon a time. Now once upon a time.
Quiet! This is sad.
Better days.